Meow, Huples cat. Got my Apoca box and I've already seen what's inside it because I watched Old School Prepper's excellent video on it. And I'm not altogether sure whether I will rate this as an A or an A minus.
I was about ready to cancel my subscription, but I think this kit is actually an A minus.
I don't know. What I am going to do this, and I saw that very much so on Old School Prepper's video, is I will in fact make this into a better cachet. I know it's called a cache. I call it a cachet because it annoys people. Anyway, got to go to work for the next 3 nights, so it's nice to get little presents. So it's not the big box, it's $65 American for me every 2 months. Get a nice little cloth bag, nothing written on it, usually they have stuff written on them. And inside of this are a couple of things. Piece of doweling with cotton on it, always a useful thing. Some more cotton and some little yellowy worms and some extremely expensive paper clips. So this is to design one hook there and another hook there and another hook there. So this is one of your emergency fishing lines, and this has actually got a split in it, so I guess you're supposed to do it this way. Now, one of the comments I made on her video was that if you are actually going to carry a basic fishing kit with you to feed yourself with, you actually need to get better stuff than this. There's a lot of these little emergency kits around, and I'll be honest, I've got a few of them, but you've got to be very careful about feeding yourself. And if you plan to feed yourself by fishing, there's plenty of little rods around with actual reels on, and you should be getting a lot better flies and designed for your own area, and also better hooks than that. But it's a little gift, and it comes with their utility tubes which break easily to put the stuff in once you've completed it, and they have their instructions as usual on the old school types of paper. So you can use all of this and you can fish to your heart's content. That's if you don't like fish. Now this is the cache, and it has a piece of plastic that probably is not impact resistant. The survival stash tube conduit. I'll let it cough out. So he's took cache, C-A-C-H-E, or cachet as I call it, and turned it into a stash. Not altogether sure I disagree with that. I think having little stashes like this with emergency food, water, of equipment in it, hidden along the probable bug out routes is a great idea. As I said, in Canada I can't really bury these because during January, February the frost level goes down about 1 yard in places and I wouldn't be able to dig it out. So I would actually have to hang these in the trees. So as you can see from this is not very camouflaged. So I wouldn't actually use this, or I would consider painting it and hanging it in a tree that was healthy, that wouldn't be seen in any of the 4 seasons for my bug outs. But most of my bug outs I don't have anything like these stashes around because I don't actually need them anymore. I have plenty of stuff to carry around, bicycles as well. So I don't really need to be burying stuff on the bug out route. But burying stuff at the bug out location or around the periphery of your home is a great idea. If you tactically retreat from the home or the bug out location because of superior force, you can still get access to most of your equipment and they can't get access to it, and you can do it in a safe way. And then if conditions warrant, you can retake the home or the cache or the bug out location. So I think these are a great idea. She says these red tops are hard to put back on again. Let's have a look at this first off. He did say, and she said, was that you can use this as a temporary water container. You could, it's got to be hot and bright sunlight for it to dry. However, the first thing I thought of when I saw this was getting a micro towel, putting it there, putting it in fairly clean water, and then putting the top back on, which he says is difficult, or maybe it is. This would be much better if they were screwed, but I putting the top on is no problem at all. So filling it full of pre-filtered water, leaving it in the sun for 2 days, you then have about 1 litre of water. That's the first thing I thought when I saw this. Obviously for my stash I would also have water purification tablets in it. He sent a little pencil. People like these pencils. It's got cotton on it. I've never really used these. What I use for marking, generally speaking, are permanent markers. But I can see the utilities of this and it's a nice idea. And this is a standard pen. I thought it was cheaper than it is. It's actually quite a nice one. When I saw the video, it's hard to tell from videos. Alright, what else do we have? We have a little bag, and this is called the Folsom Neck, and thanks to watching OSAP, I know that I can rip my hands to pieces using this. So this is a neck knife. Word of caution, you should never have anything around your neck at all, including jewellery, unless it's got 3 points of snapping. Because even 1 point snapping, if it's grabbed right, can choke you. So this is a choke issue. So this is a very detailed thing telling you about what to do with it. And there's a little bit of paracord, cheap paracord, which is nice. And this is the pre-stuck. Okay, so I didn't have any trouble getting it open. These reptile metals are very good, but they rust very easily. This has actually got a bit of a design worked into it, which I think is the first for a pocket box, and I quite like that. How sharp is it? That will stick into people. Obviously only for little work, like opening boxes or whatever. Pretty good. The Kydex sheath apparently is hard to get off. It was not for me. What I do like about this is if you take the cord away, these can actually be used as a spear, and I have a lot of throwing knives that were like 20 bucks for a few of them, and that's what I would use for spears. Spears actually going to be fairly useful in a condition of lawlessness and problems, just for hunting and also for keeping people away from you. Yeah, so that works fine for me. I would never hang this around my neck. I can see this going into a stash, so I have some sort of a knife there. And I'm always happy to get a bit of card. For this box, this for me in Canada is about 29 Canadian. So the box cost me about $90 Canadian. So I'm quite pleased to get an item like this. This is a pocket box and extreme weather survival. This of course is a bivy bag. If you're going on a day hike, every member of the party, or at least every member of the party, should have one of these with them. If you have to leave somebody behind to go and get help because the cell phones don't work, these are great. And this is Milex and fairly durable. As Old School Prepper said, when you open these up, getting them back into plastic's pretty tough. These are great for wind removal and also water resistance. In any sort of heat, they will inevitably, it's basically a plastic bag, they will inevitably cause you to have huge amounts of sweating. Okay, so I'm not that impressed with this. This is basically a plastic bag. A compacted bag would do the same. Now she did say it is silver back, so it is slightly reflective to body heat, but not greatly so. If you've opened it up and used it, one of the things you really want to have is a bag like this to then put it in. To actually reuse it and put it back into one of these is going to be nearly impossible. I didn't fully open it, and that's why I didn't fully open it, because I quite want it to be a compact thing for emergencies. So yeah, I quite like this. Old School Prepper said this would make a good car kit. Maybe. I'm not really convinced of that. I think this is a kit that you would pay huge dividends getting and refining. And because of that, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to refine this and make this into a day hiking kit, because I need one. Quite like that, It's not fully waterproof, so if it's submerged in water, the bag's going to be soaked. Okay, what else little tricks did we get? Now this looked way bigger on Old School Prepper's video. This is about 125 mils for those people who speak thinking metric. It is very small. It does have the ApocaBox logo on it, and it does have a little bit of paint on it. Probably can't see that, there's a few red flecks of paint. Now, Old School Prepper said that in the booklet, Creek Stewart says that this can be used as an emergency boiling cup. Absolute pointlessness. If you have a fire going and you put water in this, it's single walled aluminium, yes, it will boil. But with 125 mils boiling it, there's several problems. First problem is going to be the fact that you're only going to get about 90 mils, 80 mils, half of this, or 2/3 of this, of water after the boiling stage. The second thing is you won't be able to touch this unless you have really good gloves on or can figure out how to use wood to do the lip for quite some time after use. So again, I like this as a souvenir, as an object, but I don't think this has any actual place in a survival stash. It's just not big enough and it's just not hardy enough, and I would want a handle. A signal mirror with instructions, which is always good. These are always fun. I think this is a Boy Scout thing, right? You know, you get the sun, you get the aircraft, you figure out where it's going, and you make flashing to the aircraft. Probably won't be able to do it on this. But there's a signaling mirror, and that's okay. It's fairly heavy. The mirror itself is inside plastic, which is a good idea. But the main use for this for me, and this is not good enough because I actually don't want the signaling mirror in it, would be for looking for splinters and stuff in your eyes and things like that. Part of your first aid kit. Has a fairly decent rope again. Again, it's designed to go around your neck. Again, don't put anything around your neck. A fire steel. Always a useful thing to have. I'm not going to open this one up. It's not the cheapest I've seen by far. It's okay. Once you've prepared it and got the black off it, it's pretty good. You have the usual striker on it, pocket lock striker, but I always go with a knife to strike these. Fairly heavy, not bad. This is a light. So it's one of those no use whatsoever to carry things on it, but it has a light on it. And what it says is remove before use. So I'm not actually going to remove this before use because that will impair the ability of the battery to be stored. But a little light like this can be a game saver inside a kit when you've lost all your equipment. To actually have this and it's pitch black, to actually use this would be good. And I think this would be good for a stash, but again, I would want to put this inside of 2 little Ziploc bags rather than just leave it as it is.
Cyclops Biner Light, micro LED Cyclops clip light, packs a mega punch for its size and weight, whether you're changing a tire or walking through the woods. So here it is. It's got a little clip on it, clip to a bag. It says, I tried to turn it on and off, but it wouldn't turn on and off until I read the tag. It said remove here, which is probably covering up the battery so it doesn't accidentally go off in shipping, and that is very cool. And then we've got, let me turn the light off for a second here. Yeah. Got another light. Yeah, pretty good. Like that. Fun. That's awesome. Oop. So it's got several modes. So high and then low and then strobe. Very nice. Like that.
Okay. Old School Prepper didn't like this. She thought it was kind of rubbishy. It's a keychain. Survival is simple, just don't die. I actually found this somewhat amusing. I think this would be kind of an amusing thing to attach to a kit for a friend or family who aren't a prepper, but I don't know, I found that kind of amusing. This, Old School Prepper did not like and then warmed up to. I don't like it, and I don't think I'm going to warm up to it. This is a nice Ziploc bag that you can't open easily because that's the way things are these days. Everything's single use. Be much happier if you sent stuff in paper bags, but I guess you won't. Okay, so you can open it. So this is for those people who don't recognize what one of these is. This is actually a tiny little crowbar. Not altogether sure it's a good idea. Creek put it in because he says people often break the tips of their knives using little crowbars when they could be using a little crowbar. Yeah. He did sell and give away about 2 years ago now a 6-inch version that was much more stable than this, which is what I actually carry in my EDC backpack to actually open doors and open car windows and stuff like that in a pinch. This reminds me of Christmas cracker. Christmas crackers have tiny little gifts inside that are kind of useless. This is kind of useless. Don't agree, old school prepper. This is far too small and actually far too heavy for the weight to be of any real use. Carry a proper crowbar. In a survival situation, you want to be carrying one of those big 20 inches, of which I've got several. They're heavy, but boy, you're going to be happy you have something with that heft and that leverage on it. The leverage is what's important. And you can maybe add stuff to this to make the lever bigger. I don't know, not really keen. If you get straight wood, you can obviously screw it on. Again, would you need to do that? Would you have the time to do that? I don't know. Well, that's it for the ApocaBox Survival Stash Tube Conduit. And make sure I've got everything. I do. Dear ApocaBoss, we're now ApocaBosses. This month's ApocaBox is a little different. I call it ApocaBox Conduit, and it's a tube that's designed to be stashable survival kit for you to keep at work, in your vehicle, in a backpack, or wherever else makes sense for you. I've gotten you started with some awesome gear to start building this kit, but you will need to personalise and fill out with the odds and ends that best serve your specific needs. Can't wait to see what you do with this. So you try and get your subscribers involved online to create a false sense of community, so they keep subscribing to you. That's the challenge, is for Folsom Neck thing. Don't know, it looks pretty intact to me. For once, I don't have to actually shape this. So yeah, that's it. Obviously, straight off the bat, I want a micro towel in this so I can use this as a sole disc. Pre-filter the water, keep it in the sunlight for 2 days. Got a litre of water, not a huge amount, but it will be helpful. And a micro towel also can be used to help keep you dry, and also for many other things, including face masks. So I put a micro towel in here. I will put in decent tablets for water purification. There's quite a few makes, but I want one that does viruses, bacteria and Clostridium. Yeah, what else would I put in here? Not impressed with this. I actually would put in probably a multi-tool penknife. I think that would probably be a better idea. This is okay. I put this in here, but I'd also put in a couple more decent trash bags. Fill one trash bag full of leaves, fill the other trash bag full of leaves, and then you have a wall between you and the floor, and also from the wind direction. Minimum of 2. If we could get more in, I will actually. In terms of food, there's no way I'm carrying a fishing kit in this. No point. 0 point to that. I probably would just put in some hard candies. You can get away with hard candies for about 5 to 6 days, just having 4 or 5 hard candies a day. You will be very hungry, but you will not die, and you will be able to function okay. And that's what I would see this kit for. No, not at all. That's not going in there. Not at all. No. Probably not this, because I'm not really happy with it. Probably will put this in, because the light's good, but again, I make sure it's waterproof. Probably will put the striker in, but I also will put in a couple of Bics, because that's the way to go in my opinion. This is a backup if you don't have a Bic that works. And yeah, that's about it. I don't know what else I'd put in this, to be honest with you. So what do you guys think? What would you put in this? It's an interesting challenge, actually. So I don't know what I will put in it, and I will do a video and show you what I put in it. One of these things with these tubes is that a lot of the tubes, it's really hard to get stuff out of the tube once you put the stuff in it. This one's actually pretty easy, so that's good. So I'm going to put it away now, and I will put it on fast forward. It's 65 American dollars for me. $90 Canadian. A third of that is the bivvy bag. If I wanted the neck knife, I'd probably pay another $30 for it. I don't. The fishing kit's $5 if that's being generous. The cup's probably $5 if being generous. Pencil's probably $3 being generous. Yeah, not altogether convinced this was worth itself. Like I say, Old School Prepper rated this about an A- to an A. I'm actually going to rate this a B. The reason I'm rating it as a B is I'm not convinced that the equipment inside of this is any good. Aqua tablets are not the brand I would recommend, but they work. Even putting 10 of them in here from ApocaBox would have impressed me far more than this. And a small micro towel would have been better. I think the tin cup is a gimmick. I don't know if that will work at all. You're certainly not going to process much water there, so I think it wasn't worth actually putting the tin cup in this. It would have been worth giving as a giveaway for drinking scotch in the apocalypse, but I don't think it's actually going to have much use for me. If you're going to boil water, you need to have a proper system with handles, and it's got to be safe, and you've got to boil and process plenty of water. But I do like the tube idea. I do think this is a good idea. If these go on sale, and sometimes Creek does that, I might actually get 4 or 5 of these because I think they're actually a useful thing. Doodles.